The need for speed has always been an important factor in car manufacturing. Companies wanted to be able to claim the fastest acceleration, the highest top speeds, and the most horsepower. This constant competition would soon result in one of the most popular genres of automobile history. Enter the muscle car era.
Camaro, fiery new creation from Chevrolet.
Pontiac GTO.
Mustangs move into the cool world.
There's just no resisting it. 1969 Dodge Charger.
It's the hottest number on the highway.
It's the 88.
The Oldsmobile 88.
1971 Roadrunner. Coming through with totally new
Don't
styling.
let the bucket seats and sumptuous interior fool you.
By definition, a muscle car is a product of the American car industry, adhering to the hot rodders' philosophy of taking a small car and putting a large displacement engine in it. In addition, a muscle car is more or less designed for the sole purpose of straight-line speed. While the origin of the first production muscle car is a blur, many believe that the first true muscle car was the 1949 Oldsmobile Rocket 88. Its creation was a response to the growing public interest of speed and power, and with a displacement of 303 cubic inches, it quickly set the standard for what a V8 motor should be.
Hydromatic 5 is new, Futuramic styling too. Yes, the going's great in an 88, it's a driver's dream come true.
Well, Mel Torme is certainly sold on the Rocket 88.
Thrill to the power of the rocket engine, the smoothness of Oldsmobile's new Hydromatic, the smartness of Futuramic design. Why don't you drive the 88 at your Oldsmobile dealers?
The success of the Rocket 88 would send the American automotive scene into a frenzy, as each company pushed out their own high-performance vehicles. The competition between Ford, Chrysler, and GM took off during the 1960s and would last up until the early 1970s. This decade is typically referred to as the muscle car era, a time in which the norm for every American was to have one of these big block, gas-guzzling, tire-burning machines. There were many options to choose from: the Ford Mustang, Chevrolet Camaro, Dodge Charger, Plymouth Roadrunner, Pontiac GTO, just to name a few. America caught a bug for big block motors, and the demand for them was so high that nearly every American car manufacturer was producing what they thought to be the muscle car that would end all muscle cars. Each year brought a bigger, faster version of the previous generation, and manufacturers were not only building these machines for the streets, but they were also building them for the track. On March 24, 1970, Buddy Baker drove a Dodge Charger Daytona to a blistering 200 miles per hour at Talladega, becoming the first driver in NASCAR history to break the 200 mile per hour mark. Later, both the Daytona and its sister car, the Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird, would be banned from NASCAR due to the unfair advantage in both top speed and aerodynamics. But just like every trend, there would come a time where the American market would no longer yearn for these street-legal race cars.
This is NBC Nightly News, Wednesday, October 17th. Reported by John Chancellor.
The Middle East War produced developments all over the world today. The oil-producing countries of the Arab world decided to use their oil as a political weapon.
There are many reasons for the decline in demand for muscle cars. The biggest slash came in the form of emission regulation. With the introduction of the Clean Air Act of 1970, car manufacturers were forced to detune and regulate their high-performance muscle cars. And with the 1973 oil embargo, many American consumers were shifting away from their gas-guzzling V8 muscle cars to find a more efficient vehicle that wouldn't break the bank at the pump. There was also the growing danger that came with owning a muscle car. The liability that came with owning one of these race cars for the roads resulted in increased insurance rates. These rates, coupled with the pressure put on by restrictive emission standards and gas shortages, resulted in the slow death of many iconic cars from this era. Companies like Ford decided to evolve their flagship muscle car into a personal luxury vehicle. The Ford Mustang is arguably one of the most iconic cars of the muscle car era, but by the 1970s, Ford shifted its marketing of the Mustang to suit the needs of a wider audience. This would result in the Mustang Grande. With their priorities set on comfort rather than performance, Ford basically took the muscle car out of the muscle car. While the Mustang Grande was a success, many other companies were unable to follow in Ford's footsteps. Other companies reacted to the changing market by offering appearance packages as a way to keep the spirit of their once great muscle cars alive. Cars like the Plymouth Volare would come with the optional Roadrunner vinyl package, which was essentially an upscale decor package for the coupe. While it's been nearly 5 decades since the end of this pivotal chapter in America's history, the muscle car era has had long-lasting effects on American culture. Enthusiasts are still refurbishing classic cars from this era in order to preserve their history. American muscle has become a nostalgic piece in our ever-changing culture. Car manufacturers like Ford, Dodge, and Chevrolet refuse to drop their iconic cars from their lineup due to their popular demand. There's just something about owning a muscle car. Sure, there's faster, more efficient, and more advanced vehicles on the market, but none of them can compare to the pure nostalgia that comes with driving a roaring V8 down the highway.